Hello and welcome to part 2 of my Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped Platinum Relic run through. So last time we did the first 2 areas of the warp room, and now in this video we're going to be doing the second 2 areas of the warp room. And this is where the game begins to get substantially more difficult, both in terms of just going through it normally and in terms of doing the time trials. These levels get a lot trickier in terms of the speed at which you need to go through them and the amount of enemies that you need to avoid. But we're starting it off with one of the easier levels in the pack. There I missed a 1-second time box, and I was thinking at this point, should I just reset and start another run? But I kept with it and it paid off. You don't need to get every single time box, but it helps to get as many as possible. I found that it's faster. I was thinking, would it be faster to use that dinosaur, or would it be faster to just run through it as Crash? But I didn't really experiment much with that because I just kept with using the dinosaur. I actually don't know which is faster, but I'm assuming because the dinosaur can just run straight through boxes rather than Crash having to spin them, that the dinosaur is faster. It certainly feels faster, but don't know if anybody's experimented with that. But yeah, this level, at least this section of the game, is relatively easy. All you need to do is just keep running towards the screen and you'll pretty much get the platinum if you've done well up until that point. So this level, this is one where I'm pretty sure this is considered to be a hard level to get the platinum relic on. At least I found it difficult when I was a kid, I know that much. But I actually did this level, I think, on my first time doing it. So that surprised me. This is one of the levels that actually spurred me on to go ahead and try and get all of the platinum relics, because I was thinking, well, if this level is supposed to be one of the hardest and I did it first time, maybe I can get all of the platinum relics quite easily. I mean, it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I remember spending hours doing it as a kid, but it's definitely not as hard as I remember it being. If you've played Crash 3 a lot, like I have, you shouldn't have too much trouble with it. Having said that though, I don't think, whenever I play Crash 3 I normally go for 105%, and I don't think that that's going to change. I don't think I'm now going to always go for the platinum relics, just because a couple of the levels are really annoying. A couple of the levels I probably spent around an hour just trying to get the platinum relic on. So that's quite a substantial amount of time. Here I was kind of thinking, I've not got the platinum relic at this point because I wanted to keep the jet ski to blow up all of those nitro boxes. But I persevered with it and swam past them instead and got the platinum. This is another level which is quite difficult. This is probably among one of the harder, like, standard platforming levels to get the platinum on. Actually, this level's quite annoying because of that. If you saw that then, like, Crash went to do the monkey bars but then jumped straight back off of them, and that is a problem when you're moving quick as Crash and you have to do these monkey bar sections. He sometimes will just grab them but let go of them, like, straight away, and it can end up killing you quite a lot. It's very irritating if that happens in the later sections of the levels. Thing here, this is probably one of the trickiest parts in the entire game to go quick in, just because you need to do so many jumps in a row, and it can be quite difficult if the magic carpets and the platforms just aren't lined up properly. I think as well another tactic with this particular level is that if you don't get the 3 Aku Akus at that point where I got them, you might as well just give up, because it's just so much quicker to go through it with the 3 Aku Akus. And here we have possibly, at least in my opinion, the hardest level to get the platinum relic on. I'm not even sure how I can recommend doing this level, to be honest. It's just, you're going to need to do it a lot because you're going to need to memorize the entire track, basically, and you're just going to need to do it perfectly in a single run, which is harder than it looks. And really, that's the only advice I have. It's just a matter of practicing. There's no shortcuts or anything. You've just got to hope that the opponents are in the right place so that they don't bump you off of the road. and you've just got to go as quickly as possible. You're going to have to let go of the X button at some point to make some of the tighter corners, but you've just got to keep that to a minimum, just so you're always going at the highest speed you can possibly go at. But yeah, other than that, it's just a matter of making sure that you get all of the time boxes, because I'm pretty sure if you miss a single one in this level, you're not going to get the platinum. Just because with this, you have to do it pretty much perfectly, and you have to make the most out of those boost pads as well, which can be quite difficult because they're mostly placed just before a tight corner. So that can be a bit annoying if you mess that up. It doesn't help that this level's also quite long. I think it's one of the longer levels in the whole game. If you go in fast, I mean. But yeah, this particular speed boost, it can be quite difficult to judge when you're supposed to stop boosting, but I think I got that pretty much spot on this particular run. And that with that one, it sometimes feels like you're gonna go into a hole in that speed boost because it affects your turning, but as long as you correct yourself, you can go past 2 of the holes while still boosting, but then you have to stop boosting for the 3rd hole to make it around the corner. This is another level, like I think I said in the last video that all of the medieval levels are really easy to get the platinum on, just because these levels are basically just centered around going straight forward. They don't have any 2D parts, so it's just a matter of running forward as fast as possible. You can jump onto the sides of the levels as well, which can help you get around some of the enemies like there. So you can kind of like use the way the levels are designed to your advantage there. I think I do that right at the end of the level as well, where I just like jump onto the side and just keep jumping to get past the enemies. Always helps to get 3 Aku Akus, just because your movement speed is increased slightly, and because you can just run straight through enemies, obviously, like that. And you don't have to spin to break boxes. So any level that has 3 Aku Akus, you're going to want to get them. So if you lose an Aku Aku in one of those levels, you might as well just restart, because you're just wasting your time if you don't get all 3 of them. But yeah, this is where what I was talking about, where I just jumped on the side just to get around that guy, rather than jumping on top of him and defeating him in the normal way. So this is the first level of the 4th area of the warp room, and there's these hidden boxes here where you can get a 2 free 3-second time boxes, which obviously helps substantially. As you can see there, I only had 4 milliseconds on the clock at that particular point. So yeah, this level can be annoying just because of these doors that are constantly opening and closing, and they can make it so that you can't get past them if they're shut. And it's just irritating to have to just stand there and wait and just watch the clock go down, but I'm sure that the levels are designed so that you have to wait behind at least one of the doors. So it's just a matter of persevering with it. And just hoping you don't get stuck for too long. I remember that being annoying, because normally when I did this level I was jumping and spinning that Aku Aku and time box, but I was only ever getting one of them, so in this run I got a bit lucky and actually got both of them in one spin. So that's probably why this run was a platinum and others I was doing weren't. This flamethrower guy was also annoying because he, if you try and jump and do the death tornado spin, like around that corner to save time, the flamethrower guy is definitely going to hit you, just because of the way that it's positioned. So you have to wait for a little bit there and time your jump. But yeah, with those levels it's just a matter of going forward as fast as possible. These levels, this plane level and the next plane level, not only, in my opinion, are they the worst levels in the game just to play normally, but they're so annoying to get the Platinum Relic on, just because you just constantly feel like you're moving so slowly, and it's just irritating. It's like you can see that you're shooting the blimps, but because of the draw distance not being very good, you're just not hitting them. Like I'm obviously shooting the blimp now, but it's just not actually hitting it. So because I didn't actually do that many attempts of these levels, so I'm not sure what the strategy is. I'm not sure if there's like a order that you're supposed to shoot down the blimps or not, but I kind of just made it up as I went along and it happened to work out. I think if you just follow where the arrow is pointing, you're gonna do like pretty well. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a tactic for that or not. It seems like I had 2 attempts at it and ended up doing it. So yeah, this is the second Coco jet ski level, and as you can see there, I missed the clock. But the reason I missed the clock is because the waves can be a bit unpredictable, and they actually sort of like affect your movement. So sometimes if there's a random wave and you're about to hit a ramp, but you hit the wave first, you can actually get some extra height, which can be it can be annoying because it can make you miss boxes through no fault of your own. But yeah, that's just one of the many reasons why I think this is probably one of the hardest levels to get the Platinum Relic on, probably the second hardest after the bike level that we saw in this video. And the reason for that, as well as the stupid waves, which can be unpredictable, is just because of the length of the level combined with the amount of obstacles and the variety in the obstacles that you have to avoid. So basically the way that you need to do this is to just get all of the time boxes that you see and to just master the level, just learn the level and do it as quickly as possible. Like there, I kind of thought I might as well just go into the bomb, just because it would save time and I wouldn't need to just waste time going around it. And luckily it paid off. Luckily it did save a couple of milliseconds. But yeah, it's just a matter of getting the muscle memory to be able to do the level kind of without thinking too much about it and without panicking. These guys, them pirates with the anchors on the chains, can be really annoying to get through, especially the last one, which is coming up, because he's right near the end of the level, but you also have to very slightly slow down just so he doesn't hit you. And you need to take your finger off of the X button, like just for like not even half a second, less than that. But yeah, doing this so that you can do the level perfectly, it basically just requires a ton of practice. I think I was playing this one level for about an hour before I got this. So it's just a matter of, again, with like the other hard levels, it's just a matter of persevering with it, and you'll eventually do it. So here we have the first of the Crash future levels, which, as I said before, these are probably some of the harder normal platforming levels to get the platinum on. Just because of these like sort of like timed sections, so like where you're sometimes going to need to wait for the lasers, you're sometimes going to need to run straight through, and it can be quite difficult to judge when you're going fast. But as you saw then, you can actually jump around the lasers. It's risky, but if you do it properly and quickly, it does pay off. There it's quicker to not get that 2-second time box. It's safer to just go over, because it will save you time in the long run. This is one of those levels where you're going to want to make sure that you get all 3 of the Aku Aku masks, because I think when you get the first... when you get the invincibility from the third Aku Aku, you can pretty much get through the entire level with the invincibility. So it makes it just a lot easier, and because it's easier you can obviously go faster, so it works out well. So yeah, here we're just running through. I was trying to just go as quickly as possible. So the third Aku Aku mask doesn't take you all the way to the end of this section, like I thought. Maybe that's in the next future level, which will be in the next part of this video. But yeah, either way, it makes it faster. So you're definitely going to want to get the 3 Aku Akus regardless. Okay, so this is the last level of the 4th area of the warp room, and it's also the last level of this video. So I think this level is quite an iconic Crash level, not just because of the not just because of the gimmick, which is interesting, the water rising, and you kind of like having to time when it's going to rise and when it's going to go down so that you can make it through as quickly as possible, but because its name is Tomb Raider, which is obviously a reference to Tomb Raider, which is a series of games I've been kind of like thinking about reviewing at some point. I've been meaning to get around to that, not just because they're good games, but because I've never actually played the 4th and 5th one on PS1. The Last Revelation and Chronicles, I think it's called. And I've never finished any of the Tomb Raider games aside from the very first one, so it would be interesting to go back to those and see what I've been missing out on. Obviously played the 2nd and 3rd ones, but yeah, never got around to actually completing them. Anyway, we're getting close to the end of the level now, so I'll begin to wrap things up. So if you enjoyed watching this run through of Crash 3 Warped, getting all the Platinum Relics, then stay tuned for part 3 where we'll wrap up with the last 10 levels of the game. See you next time!